Good morning, everyone. It's 10:20 sharp, so we are kicking off our next session titled How to Finance Social Impact, Insights from Young Entrepreneurs and MFI experts. Let me just say that this session is offered through the SIFTA program, and the SIFTA program is a continuation of the EU program for employment and social innovation called EASY. It is managed by EIB and financed by the European Union. It provides targeted capacity building, project advisory, and market development support to financial intermediaries active in microfinance and social entrepreneurship spaces. So welcome once again to this session. I can see that we are joined by more people, which is excellent. My name is Ewa Bańkowska. I'm a Deputy Director of MFC, and it's my pleasure to moderate this session for you. So let me start like this. As MFC, we are celebrating 25 years of our existence, and actually, naturally, we are observing a new generation of micro entrepreneurs entering this sphere of financing. Young people kicking off their businesses do it in a different circumstances and with different motives or purposes that we observed 20 years ago. Many of them want to do a business with a purpose, and the number of social enterprises grows. They also have other preferences for services and also other skills, especially when we are talking in the area of digitalization. These are new clients of microfinance institutions, new type of entrepreneurs. So today there are two great speakers with me. Let me introduce them. Hisham Taibi is the founder of WEED, a beauty brand. He's a young entrepreneur, the young and smiling one, which is great. And David Takin is a Chief Development Officer in Microstart Belgium, and Microstart offered financial and actually non-financial products to Hisham. And so welcome both of you. Thank you for joining.
Thank you. Thank you.
And thank you also everyone who has joined this session so far. So you are more than welcome to comment or ask questions in the chat. We will either answer them as we go, or we will answer them in the end of the webinar. But feel free to post your questions in the chat. You can also write in the chat which institution you are from and which country. It would be really nice to see who is with us today. So if you can post in the chat box the name of your organization and the country you are from. And also, if you would like to speak up, please raise your hand and I will unmute you. So moving back to the topic, according to European Commission, the young people are those between 15 and 29 years old, and quite a number of them are people just entering the labor market, including those who are setting up their business for the first time. So Hisham, let me start with you. Hisham was born in Rabat, in Morocco, and in 2010 you moved to Belgium to pursue your studies. You studied human resources management and then also marketing. And then in 2020, you founded your company, which is called WED. So that's a beauty mark. So can you just say a few words about your company, which is offering organic cosmetics out of prickly pear seed oil? So it also has its social and economic impact. So can you say a few words? What do you offer, and whom do you empower with your business?
Oh yes, thank you for the introduction. So yes, my business is called WED. It's a skincare collection based on natural ingredients, such as the prickly pear, that is hand-picked and hand-picked, extracted and pressed into what we call precious oils, because they're pretty rare and they have a lot of benefits to the skin. So we source these ingredients in female cooperatives in Morocco, where I come from, as you said. And yeah, so our commitment is to work with female-only workforce, with the goal to safeguard the very limited employment opportunities for these women that are available in these regions, which are south of Morocco, Wedsus precisely. And through that, we actively try to contribute to their financial and economical empowerment, and also social, as we normalize work. I mean, work for women becomes more normal, and also they become more independent, and also they can be more empowered, as we would say.
Hisham, why have you started your business? What has been your motivation for, apart your roots in Morocco, but what has been your rationale for starting your business, and starting your business also with this social twist?
Yes, I think, well, the first reason, I think, which is common to most, or probably to most entrepreneurs, is that I was seeking more freedom within my work. I also wanted to spend more time in Morocco, and there was no way for me to start a business without thinking and about my impact as an entrepreneur, and without trying to make a meaningful difference, a positive impact in my environment. So I choose to work with the female cooperatives because of my roots, also because I have grown up seeing my mother applying the prickly pear seed oil to her skin, and I've seen the results, and so I always had this linked, and finally I wanted to offer an alternative to beauty products that are natural, that are efficient, and also that are high quality, as we guarantee the source of these products personally. So yes.
Okay, and so how have you financed the kickoff of your business?
As I can remember, I mean, I first bootstrapped, as we said, so I had some money on the side, and also asked for a family support, and with the goal to finance the crowdfunding campaign. So in order to finance the crowdfunding campaign, I used personal and family money. I mean, not much, but still. And so the second step was the crowdfunding campaign that I conducted. And then we still needed money, and that is why I asked for the loan from MicroStart.
And how did you come to meet MicroStart?
The first time I've seen, I've known MicroStart was through an incubator. I mean, I was my business was part of an incubator called We Are Founders in Brussels. And so Microfinance has had I think some of our entrepreneurs, probably female entrepreneurs, had gone on some special days with Microfinance. So I remember I've heard of them through my other entrepreneurs, and then I made some research online, and then I booked a meeting. I met them, then I asked for a loan.
Okay, so let's thanks a lot. So now let's hear from David actually about this encounter. But first, David, please say a few words about MicroStart. Who you are.
Yes, thank you. So Microsoft, it's a social organization that delivers microcredit in Belgium, so in the whole country. And we propose also business development services, such as individual coaching to help for the business plan, or training, management training, and so on. So we exist for 11 years now. We are able to disburse 66 million euros in the Belgian economy, and 15 of them are to the young entrepreneurs. So young entrepreneurs for us, it's less than 30 years old. And we also support through the BDS services a bit more than 9,000 persons through coaching, trainings, and so on. And 2,600 of them were to young persons to help to create a business and so on. We do also a social impact study with KPMG every 3 years to deep dive a bit on the results of the entrepreneurs that we supported. And as we are a social organization, we don't make any profit, so we don't calculate return on investment, but we calculate social return on investment. And we see that €1 invested at Microsoft pays back €2.53 to the community, to the society in general. But maybe I should also give some Belgian context because I feel that it's not the same in every country. So just for your information, the young person represents 12% of the total active population. When I say active population, it means people who are working or seeking for a job. But for the entrepreneurs, only 8% of the total entrepreneurs are young persons. But at Microsoft, they represent 32%. So almost 1/3 of the people that we finance are actually young entrepreneurs. We see also that most of the young person have a high diploma, so it means they have at least a bachelor or a master degree. But when you look at the entrepreneurs, most of them, they don't have a high diploma, and it's the same rationale at Microsoft because 67% of the people that we finance have no high diploma. And when we deep dive a bit on why we have such high, let's say, representative of the young person at Microsoft, it's mainly because it's difficult for them to get access to, let's say, the banking system. Because they lack of credit history, because it's maybe the first time they will get a credit. They have the lack of guarantees because they don't own any house or car or whatever. They have the lack of personal contribution, so they cannot bring money. Okay, in the case of Hicham, it was possible because thanks to the family, but most of the time it's not always the case. Well, lack of experience, so maybe the bankers are a bit afraid of financing them because they don't have a lot of experience in the field. Lack of information, always the same thing, that accessing information, the good information to start a business or to find the money is always tricky, especially in Belgium because we have 3 regions with 3 national languages, so sometimes it's a bit tricky to know where to find it. And we saw also a lack of redirection from the banks, so we are on our level trying to make partnership with banks because they are the first person to know if an entrepreneur cannot get a credit or not. And again, because there is a lack of second chance mentality in Belgium, when you fail as an entrepreneur or get bankrupt, it's sometimes difficult to have a second chance and to try again, because some banks, for instance, they refuse people who get bankrupt. So
while we know that actually for the success in entrepreneurship, you actually need failures, right? So the kind of more you fail, the more you learn. And so that's really a challenge. Mm-hmm.
Indeed, you learn by failing. I feel, and it's a bit a pity that in Belgium it's still difficult for the people who failed, or at least try to
Mm-hmm.
something, but didn't go for it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So for the young entrepreneurs, what we've done, so we have different tools. We have e-learning tools. We have a toolbox. We have management training and coaching. So it's let's say a package to help them get information and proper advices to start a business or to find money. Then we have advisors who are there to make the bridge, because we have a lot of communities. We are working with a lot of communities. A lot of young people are coming from the communities. So we have advisors go to the communities to get the information and take time also to explain all the procedures and so on. We have Hisham.
Yes, Hisham. We lost Hisham for a second, but I trust we will shortly be able to see him back. So let's David, let's continue, hoping for Hisham to be back shortly.
And we also develop low threshold individual coaching sessions. So it means that we don't request to come to us with a lot of documents. We have an oral methodology, so we ask a lot of questions, so they can just come with a good idea, a good project, and we'll try to do it with them. And we have also financial solutions, so I can explain a bit more later, but we go up to 25,000 euros. And we have finally a dedicated campaign for on entrepreneurship, just to make aware that they can be an entrepreneur and they can try it through microfinance.
Let me also add that indeed MicroStart, you are committed to creating this ecosystem for young entrepreneurs, also by participating in the Young Entrepreneurs Policy Academy, that is an initiative of European Commission and OECD. So you are playing there also a role. So the academy also aims at recognizing the number of young people who would like to become entrepreneurs. The European Commission aims at improving this ecosystem for them. Hisham, great to have you back. But let me, David, continue just with MicroStart, and actually, so if you can say what are the financial services, what are the financial products that you offer to young entrepreneurs, as on this example of Hisham's business and your relationship with him?
So we at Microsoft we have decided to not have having too much financial products. So it means that we don't develop a specific product for a specific target group. So let's say everyone can access the same financial product, but what we do is we adapt the process to the needs of the persons. What does it mean? Means that, as I said, it's a oral methodology. So we will ask a lot of questions, so they don't have to have a business plan or financial plan before coming to us. We can help them to do it. But also we are quite flexible in the way that they can test it. I think it was a case of Hisham. He tested with a really small amount of, the first grade was 2,000 euros, if I'm not mistaken, to test it, to develop, I think, the campaign and so on. And then get a second credit of a bit more money. I think it was 6,000 euros. It was in co-financing the crowdfunding campaign. So if you reach the campaign target, you could get extra money from Microsoft. start. And we see that a lot of, not a lot, but we see that most of the co-financing with a crowdfunding platform are in fact proposed to young entrepreneurs because they have more innovative products, they have more social-oriented business, and they are seeking for alternative finance instead of going to the banking system. And a way to do it is having a crowdfunding platform and co-financing with a microfinance institution. So we give them the opportunity to do it. We did it several times, and it was also the case for Hicham. So yeah, this is, I think.
Mm-hmm. So this is really a kind of very new approach, right? To link your loan with crowdfunding. How does it work, and what are the risks involved? What kind of risks you identify, and why does it work for both sides?
Well, in the case if you finance, let's say, the prototype or the test, the risk is that after this, the entrepreneur, let's say, doesn't go further in the project, so it doesn't develop the project. But if you do the co-financing, so it means that you need to reach the objective of the campaign, then you will get the credit. So what we do is we approve the file with the condition of reaching the target. So for us, there is no risk. The only risk could be that it doesn't reach the objective, and then we don't do the disbursement. So let's say on a credit basis, there's not much risk of it. However, the risk that we could see, it's as it's a new product, maybe the market has to be developed, and sometimes it's tricky. But let's say that's it. And I looked at the risk data just before the webinar, and we see that the risk is lower for young entrepreneurs than for the others.
Okay, and why is that? Do you have any clues why is that?
It's a good question. I don't have a concrete answer to it, to be honest. I think it's mainly because they just want to make it happen. And sometimes they start really with a small amount to test it, and then they develop. They are more willing also to get trained and coached by our coach. So I think it's the answer. It's part of the other services that we propose. So I mean, the support, the advices that we give, maybe help them to better construct the business. And also the fact that, as I mentioned, they are more active in social-oriented businesses or more innovative. So I said it was maybe a risk because we don't know super well the market. But at the end, apparently, the success is pretty good.
Okay, this is really interesting what you are saying. Meantime, let me just ask everyone who is watching, if you have any questions about so far, please please let us know in the chat, or raise your hand if you wish to speak up. But it's really I think it's worth underlying when we are talking about young people, what you David just said, that they are more willing, they are working hard, they are more open to be trained, and that the projects are more innovative. So so kind of those soft characteristics, right? They are as important as more hard ones like I don't know, cash available, capacities of the business, and so on. So really it matters what is the spirit of the entrepreneur here. Before I switch back to Hisham, one more question to you, David. Hisham's business has this social mission, right? So he really aims at empowerment of female cooperatives back in Morocco. From your perspective as an MFI, is there a difference between social enterprises and, say, regular enterprises? Is there a difference in how you approach them, in how you assess them? Or what are the differences for you?
Yeah, I get it. No. The answer is no. In the way we assess them, it's exactly the same process. Actually, we finance, let's say, naturally social organization or social business, but we don't track them in our data. So I'm not able to give you data on how many social organization or social enterprises that we finance, because we don't track them, because we analyze exactly the same way. Mm-hmm. So we analyze the person first, the background, the credit story, and so on. Then we analyze the project, and if the project can be developed and can bring revenues to the person, it's, let's say, the first objective. In the future, we would like to develop further this approach, but for now, the analysis is exactly the same. However, mm-hmm. what we see in the credit committees, it's in the question from the credit committees, this is an added value in the project. So let's say in the criteria, it's not, there is no value of it, let's say, but mm-hmm. in the question and in the decision, it's a valuable asset to be active in such markets.
Okay.
And we see that we have much more agreement from the credit committee for those projects from, let's say, traditional ones.
Mm-hmm. So simply from a loan analysis perspective, there is no difference between the businesses, right? But it matters also, it's a value added if the project, if the business to be financed is socially oriented, just kind of from the perspective, I assume, also of your own goals as an organization, right? To meet your mission as well. Okay, Hisham. What are the key challenges from your perspective as a young entrepreneur, right? What are your main challenges when you are taking on this adventure of having your own business?
Financial or in general?
Both financial and general.
Well, I think they're linked. Mm-hmm. I think the main challenge as a small business is to acquire customers. I think it is not only a matter of a good offer and a good marketing strategy. It is also communication, and sometimes, and most of the time, communication acquires a budget. So yeah, it is either a very slow path to grow, or that's the main challenge. And yes, I think it was actually a battle every day to acquire new customers without a communication budget, or with a very, very small one.
And can you just share a bit on what's your main channel or main strategy to onboard your customers?
Well, in I mean, the cheapest way is the organic customer acquisition, which is a referral and mouth to in French we say bouche à oreille, mouth to ear. I don't know that's exactly in English, and returning customers, partnerships, free partnerships, obviously, or low budget ones, but as I said, this is a slow growth path, and you're also very tempted when you're an entrepreneur with a marketing background, digital marketing background. You also want to do ads, and you also want to actually to also in entre guillemets we say to play with all these tools and test and fail and then learn and then do it again, but the failing has a cost. And that you can't always afford when you're a small entrepreneur or small business. So yeah.
Right, the failing has its cost. That's indeed, especially in digital marketing, you need to test the various approaches in order to really find your way. Okay, David. So, what's the role of what has been the role of MicroStart in addressing those challenges?
Prime clients, you mean?
Say it again.
So you mean what?
Like Hisham mentioned, like financial challenges. That's obviously one. The other is marketing acquisition. Acquisition of the new clients, and MicroStart is offering non-financial services to entrepreneurs, right? So how do you really help them address those challenges? Or which of them can be addressed by an MFI actually?
So for my marketing, we don't have that many coaches for now with this let's say hat. We have mainly helping on stock management, on financial or administrative issues and so on, or even legal issues. So we are now trying to develop this aspect because we see the demand is growing for marketing topics and so on. So for now, we can help few entrepreneurs with these topics, but we cannot respond to all the demands. So it's the first thing. The second thing, as we try to have a progressive way of financing, so we try to not go to the maximum of amount the first time. We go step by step. So every 6 months you can request another financial support. So the idea is to develop step by step the business, and if there's a new need to develop the business on marketing or commercial side, and the entrepreneur is not able to do it himself, but he needs, I don't know, a partner to do it, or a supplier to do it, we could finance those services to develop further the business. So this is, let's say, for now, the two ways that we could help the person, or maybe also it's to make the bridge with other partners who could support the entrepreneur. Because in Belgium, it depends on the region again, but there's also subsidies to get advices from professionals, or to get visibility from different organizations. So it's also another way to help the entrepreneurs.
Okay, so Hisham, I think it was your case that you also received financing in two tranches, right? So David said that it's a kind of progressive financing, so each time you can get larger amount. How did it work from your perspective? How useful it was for you?
I had two loans, a small one and then the complementary one. And as David explained, the first one I had, it was right before we launched the crowdfunding campaign, and what gave the confidence to Microstart to give me the second part of the loan is that we could reach our goal on the crowdfunding campaign. So I was initially going for a bigger crowdfunding campaign if I had the money I requested, and then finally we didn't, and I think it was a good idea, because then I could use the rest of the loan on building a website and packaging on all and other stuff. So yeah, it was a good advice from my staff.
The delivery of financial services through online channels, right? Through digital channels. How important it is for you? Like how is it important, or really it doesn't matter?
It is, and I think it's very useful in a way that goes faster, and and I think that's the reason I choose Microstart. I remember it was between Microstart and Credal, and I just simply went on their website, and Microstart had a great website, modern one, easy to use, and then they were explaining step by step how you get to have your loan, and also the time. While in comparative, the others had a very old website, very slow, and absolutely not reassuring. So I think it was, for me, it was the reason why I went to Microstart, because of that, and also because and because when things are also going online, I think only online I was also happy to meet them, and to have their advice in one-to-one. I think a good combination on online and physical is the perfect for me. Way.
Excellent testimony and comparison to competition. David, your comment on this issue from your side?
No, I'm glad that we have indeed we are known to be fast in the process, not only for the website but also in the process itself. It's quite easy to get an appointment, I think. But indeed, we have developed digital tools in the last years, and we see indeed, since we developed digital services, that the numbers, let's say the proportion of young entrepreneurs is growing in the portfolio because of this, because they are more digital natives and so on. So they prefer to use digital tools or to request and demand on the website. And since the last 2 years, we see it's growing. If I take 3 years, just before COVID, I think only 25% of the project that we financed were to young entrepreneurs, and now it's almost 1/3. So I think it's a good thing. It was a good choice to develop those tools.
Mm-hmm. Okay, excellent. Thank you. Thank you both of you for participation in this session. And we unfortunately we are not able to touch upon a few more questions we had, as we need to close the session. But let me first of all ask all of you participating to fill in the evaluation poll, which will be shortly displayed on your screens. And let me just say a few words of summary that indeed there is a need for when we are talking about young entrepreneurs, especially those first of all they have different motivations, and they start with in a different context that kind of older traditional microfinance clients. So we need a slightly more different ecosystem for them, which helps them to experiment with their innovative projects, helps them to fail also, as this is really a learning pathway. So it seems that MicroStart, you are doing a great job with more adjusted products to their needs, to their also in kind of a innovative way to find race for their projects. So so thanks for sharing your experience, Hisham. Thank you for sharing your experience with us. Good luck with your path, career path. We hope that your business will find its way to success and thrive. So thank you both for joining. Once again, apologies for those technical issues, and thank you all for participating.